giving it a signal.
Ladies and gentlemen, Geri Petito.
I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Loves the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.
When you don't know just what to do,
Just what to do, just what to do.
if what you're feeling is really true,
Is it really true? Is it really true?
just keep your ideas safe and sound.
Safe and sound, safe and sound.
That's exactly how change is found.
Change is found, change is found. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Loves the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Geri Petito Show. Everyone and anyone who knows me knows I am the author of I'm Not an Addict, I'm Just an Ass. I'd rather be a smartass than a dumbass. Because, guys, 34 years ago, I was a dumbass. But today, 34 years later, through the grace of God, I can honestly say now I'm a smartass. Yes, the word ass is in the Bible at least 40 times, and it means donkey, and that's what I was. I'm saying all that to say this. There are a lot of people out there struggling. I want everyone to know someone is listening. I'm a nutritional health coach. I'm also a recovery coach. All of my services to you are free. Please, please reach out. If you think my book can help someone, because I sure do, you can go right to Simon & Schuster's bookstore, Archway Publishing, BAM, Amazon, Barnes & Noble. You can now go to my website, www.geripetito.com, if you want it on audio with my voice, guys. Simon & Schuster wanted to do it, but with someone else's voice, and I was like, absolutely not. So my producer, Ruben Rodriguez, part owner of Hamilton Radio and owner of Iron Horse Films, is now doing audiobooks with your voice. So if any local authors out there are interested, please, please reach out. Now listen, guys, if you truly, truly, truly cannot afford my book, please reach out to me about that as well. I'm here to help you. So before I introduce my really cool guests, let me give a shout out to a few of my sponsors. And today, I'm saving the best for last, and you'll understand why. So first I have John Bishop, a.k.a. Johnny B., singer-songwriter, host of the Entertainment Luncheon South, a nonprofit network created for the creative. So he's also the partner in the Joey D and Johnny B. Rock and Oldies band, and he's also solo. But I have to give a huge shout-out to him and his wife, Linny, for this luncheon they put on once a month. It's by invite only. It's $20. You get a great lunch and incredible entertainment. And guess what, guys? They don't keep a penny of it. And they promote all of us like no one else does. So a huge shout-out to both of them. I love you guys so much. Then we've got Ken Ryan and Linda Garofalo, The Way It Used to Be, singing songs from the 50s to the 80s, a tribute show to the greatest music and voices of all time. And Ken also sings Elvis for me, baby. Thank you very much. Then we've got Michael D'Amore, singer, songwriter, performer, entertainer, www.michaeldamore.com. Guys, he's off the charts, incredible, okay? I usually don't say this about too many singers, but I say it about Michael. Elvis is up here, right? Nobody could touch Elvis in my eyes, but he's close. Let me tell you, his range is off the chart, so check him out, www.michaeldamore.com. Then we've got John Monforto, the man of many faces, singer, actor, celebrity impersonator, and tribute artist. So I gave him the title, the man of many faces, but he was given the title by a former Philadelphia mayor as the official Philadelphia Rocky impersonator. He is Rocky, guys. www.johnmonforto.com. He does about 30. My three favorites, of course, Rocky, of course, The Godfather, and Elvis, baby. So Michael Zanman, singer, entertainer, performer. Please, everyone, keep Michael in prayer. He's not doing well, and we need all the prayer we could get from Michael. I had the privilege with my producer, Ruben, of being part of Let East for the last few years, and I actually emceed the Friday nights for Michael Zanman, opening for Michael D'Amore, and last year I got John Monforto into the mix. So I want to give you a quick Michael Zanman story. So he's a great entertainer, so much fun, okay? Everybody loves him. And he about a year ago or so, he recorded Mel Carter's song, Hold Me, Thrill Me, Kiss Me, and put it on Facebook. Well, he didn't know it, but I sent it to my buddy Mel. Mel calls me and says, Jerry, your boy did a great job. I said, can you tell him? So we got him on a surprise three-way, and Mel Carter told him he did a great job with his song. Imagine that. So he'll hold on to that forever, okay? So, guys, now, last but certainly not least, so I've got a legend sitting here, and he's also one of my sponsors, Stormin Norman Seldin, 732-245-4777, www.storminnormanseldin.com, booking dozens of attractions for concerts and performances on venues of all sizes. He's got from a 5 to 12-piece band. He is a beast on the keyboard. This isn't his first time here in studio. And a lot of people don't know this, but he helped get Larry Chance from the Earls back in the day started. Larry, you were like family. We all love and miss you. Rest in peace. And I know you're singing up there with Elvis, baby. Rest in peace, Larry. We love and miss you. And he also does private lessons, right, for anyone who'd like them.
Yeah.
Okay? So reach out. You can reach out to him on Facebook, or you can reach out to me, and we will get you some lessons, okay, if anybody wants them. We're going to talk a lot about his career. Before I introduce him again, I just want to introduce Ryan Gregg. Okay, say hello to everybody.
Hello, everybody.
Okay, so they're a duo at times. We'll be talking about all that. Okay, so what they do is incredible. They're both off the charts. And here we've got Stormin Norman Seldin. Say hello to everybody.
Hello, everybody out there. Great to be on the show again. So,
You're hiding your face.
okay, that's fine.
So,
Sorry.
talking to the mic, Norm.
I'm talking.
Okay, baby.
I'm good.
So, all right, so we're going to start with this for a minute. Let's give a shout out also to Pam McCoy. Go ahead.
My other partner, when Ryan's busy, Pam and I do some limited engagements. We've got some dates coming up we'll talk about later. She's been with me for 35 years.
Amazing. She's been on the show as well. Amazing.
Never had an argument. Never. Of course, I don't argue with her, so. She was best friends with my wife, so there was no arguing.
That's beautiful.
She would take her side before she'd take mine, so.
Okay,
Yeah.
so there you go. So now, guys, we've got 3 of his albums here, which are absolutely beautiful. The vinyl and everything. It's purple, right?
Purple.
And the CD. So for the first 3 people that reach out to me on Messenger, okay, you will each get one. Okay, so let me know. So there you go, timeless memory. So now, I want to go to you first, okay, Ryan, because I want you to tell everyone a little bit about yourself.
Well, I grew up in Matawan, and then I went to school down at University of Miami for commercial music. I fell in love with the blues really early on. Actually, ragtime was my,
Okay.
that's what led to blues, and then I was in blues for a long time, and then I went to school, and then I originally went for film scoring, but I fell in love with live performance, and I've been kind of leaning into that ever since.
So, do you talk about your age?
Sure,
How old are you?
39.
So for you to be in the blues and all that stuff at your age, that's crazy amazing.
I had my first piano teacher was a classically trained Northwestern piano player who knew nothing about blues or jazz.
Okay.
But she knew immediately that I would take to it. She was a good teacher, and she put Scott Joplin in front of me when I was a kid, which is ragtime, which is kind of the bridge between jazz and classical music because it's jazz arranged classically, so she was able to communicate with me. And then I started listening on my own to the music that was put in front of me, and that kind of led me down that rabbit hole.
So did your parents love that music? Like,
No,
okay.
they were adult
Interesting.
contemporary James Taylor fans.
Interesting. All right. Well, I'm glad you went the route you went.
Yeah, it created a great foundation for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
other than like James Taylor, who were some of your other musical influences?
I'm pretty old school, but Dr. John, Professor Longhair, Oscar Peterson, Count Basie, Scott Joplin, Duke Ellington. I love the classic stuff.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you. That's pretty interesting. All right. And I've heard him play, guys. He's incredible. Okay. So now, this guy right here. All right. Like I said, he is a beast on keyboard. You are. All right.
I'd like to have a big piano, but we can't carry that
Okay.
around.
Can't carry that in here, but this is good enough for in here, man.
Sure it is.
So tell everybody, honestly, like when all this started for you.
At 3 years old,
Okay.
and I was a rambunctious kid, so I destroyed a bunch of my father's Caruso collection on 78s, and I used to dance with them on my head to Woody Woodpecker, and they used to fall on the kitchen floor. They were tiles. And I got a beating, and then about 2 days later, I got up and said, "Here's where you're getting." And they put a Steinway piano in the front room, and I started lessons at 3.
I love that. And a Steinway, guys.
Always
Always.
choice.
So now, all right, you started playing at 3 years old. All right. And then tell us how things branched off from there.
Well, when I was 3 or 4, it was 3-4 hours a day. Then as soon as I turned 5, it was 6 to 8 hours a day.
Your choice.
My choice.
Okay.
It was also a little rescue for me from other things that were going on.
Okay.
And you couldn't get me away from it. And a lot of times about 5 in the morning, and my father would come down, pick me up by my shirt collar, and carry me back to the bed and said, maybe later for this, you know. So
Okay.
it was, but I had a photographic memory, which I never knew until I was 4 or 5. So everything I remember from 3 up till right now, I can tell you almost every date, every place, every word that was said.
That's pretty cool.
But the problem is you get the bad with the good. The bad doesn't go away. So it stays with you.
Gotcha.
It's a flaw, you know, but then again, I can remember what stage, who was on it, and what union guy asked for what, and how many arguments I got in. I got in a lot, but, you know, I started doing shows when I was 14 and a half, 15 years old and recording, and my mother had to sign checks and contracts. I wasn't old enough. I couldn't even have a checking account. So it was an unusual childhood. I got out of high school and out of Manhattan School of Music by the age of 15 and a quarter, so I was done.
Okay. So now, who were some of your musical influences?
Well, when I was little, it was always, my favorite was Dino Lipatti, but he died at 32 years old. By the time I heard him, he had already passed away.
Tell us what he sang.
He wasn't a singer. He was a pianist.
Oh,
Like
okay.
Horowitz, if he would have been as big as Horowitz if he
Horowitz.
lived. Horowitz was everybody's standard, you know. But Count Basie lived across the street for 2 blocks from me. And my father taught his bass player how to read music so he could tour with the band.
That's cool.
And so he was always there. And then I had a drummer early, Alzo Wright, who used to take me to the Village Gate and the Blue Note and introduced me to all the jazz players. So I was hearing Oscar and Roland Kirk and all these people at the age of 15, 16, and embedded in it, you know. And then I took him one night when Fats Domino was at the Village Gate. And, you know, he said, "How's this going to be?" I said, "Watch." And they did their whole thing, and the saxmen paraded through the audience while they played the songs. And it was crazy, you know.
Wait, I have to interrupt, and I don't like doing that, but I just interviewed Fats Domino's
His
daughter, Karen.
she sang great, too.
Okay, she's an
Oh,
incredible singer, and
monster.
she wrote a book, The Domino Effect Reversed. Check it out, guys. Continue.
Yes. So he was my first drummer, and he said, "You know, you need some horns." You know, I was 15, you know.
Okay.
So he took me to was then Fort Monmouth. Now it's being done with Netflix, but he took me over to the band house, and he said, "There's Danny Brown from the Lionel Hampton Orchestra, and Lou Tabakin, and all these players end up on the Tonight Show band." I was getting it for $15, $20 a night each. So I had a 4-piece horn section for $70.
That's cool.
And that's what they got then. $80 was tops. So the only kid with an afro was me. And
And you had an afro.
oh yeah,
Yep.
I was telling Ryan on the way over when I met Billy Preston the one night. He said, "Did somebody put to put you in to turn you white or something? You know, what happened to you?" I said, "No, I'm normal. This is me. My hair was like huge, like his." He said, I don't know. I thought somebody bleached you out." I said,
Okay.
No.
A white boy with a big afro.
Yeah, big, real big.
Larry Chance had an afro.
Small one,
It
though.
was small, but it was, yeah, you know.
Larry changed a little bit when I started managing them.
Tell everybody a little bit about that.
Larry called me. I had just taken a part-time thing in New York. I was playing, but I went in with Jimmy Lamar, who owned GAC, who he was running that for years. And when he left from there, he opened his own agency. So when I walked in there the first day, his partner in the office was Myron Cohen, the Jewish comedian. And he made fun of me because he said, how can you fit a yarmulke on that afro,
Oh my gosh.
And his daughter didn't want to come in from Wortley Beach anymore, so he went in every day. He said, you type? I said, yeah. So they had the old green lamps, and everybody used to put their bookings on there, and there was maybe 100 contracts that were on yellow stick pads with Scotch tape on those green lamps. Can you type these up? I said, yeah, and that's when I first found out Myron Cohen was getting $4,000 or $5,000 a night when I was 16 years old,
Okay.
for doing the cruise boats and the shows up in the Catskills and all that, big time. So I did all that, and then he didn't make fun of me too much after that, but I knew Larry from running my teenage dances, and I called him. I said, listen, I'm up there with Jimmy Lamar. I said, man, things are rough. I'm thinking about getting a day job. And I said, what? He said, no. I said, don't do anything. Just give me.
How old was he about then?
Well, it's 40. He was young, but that was when Motown and the Beatles were coming in, and they were getting a pounding. The oldest groups were just
Gotcha.
being cast aside.
Gotcha.
And although the group was great, and I said, let me see what I can do. And I said, if I do something, I'm going to need you for rehearsal one day a week. I want to change some things around. Because he can sing anything. He could sing Sinatra,
Oh my
it made no
gosh.
difference. He was just an
Oh,
R&B singer.
Larry.
And, he went to school with, he was in the same class with Chubby Checker and Bobby Rydell in Philadelphia. Then he moved to the Bronx.
Yep.
And I said, just give me 2.5 weeks. I said, but I want a rehearsal. I was trying to do the same thing with him as I did with the other groups and bands. He said, fine. So about 2.5 weeks later, he called up and said, well, what's the news? Am I working at the grocery market, or what am I doing? I said, you got to come up. Well, we're just up for rehearsal the other day. I said, no, you got to come up. He said, I got some work for you. He said, you got work? I said, I got about 35, 40 bookings for you. Did you get me? I remember him saying, did you get me $300? I said, well, I got you $550 to $700. He said, what? I said, that's what I get. I said, so he said, they're going to take that? I said, I got deposit checks on all of them. So
Okay.
he came up and he signed them all. And we started rehearsing. I said, first thing, you got to get out of that other clothes. He said, you want to be like the in-crowd, get Nehru suits. So they all got white Nehru suits
Oh, okay.
and put them in that. And he said, and let's do some Sly and the Family Stone and some Vehicle, the Ides of March, and to break up the oldies. Still do your 5 or 6 songs that they know,
Okay.
but put those in there. So he shows up one night, he brings 3 horns with him, and the bass player and the drummer, and whenever his drummer didn't make it, Mike Drummer would play for him. So we just turned it around, and then he said, boy, he said, it's really good. I said, if you want a job, I said, I know where there's one if you want to call. He said, where? I said, because he did good impersonations, the Spanish and the Italian.
Yes.
And he said, I called Dynamis, he wants somebody early in the morning. So that's where Santana Banana came from.
Okay. Was that amazing? It was because of you?
Yeah.
Amazing.
And he called me one morning at 5 in the morning. Those were the days when I was not too coherent at 4:35 in the morning. I was busy. And he called up. He said, good morning, Mr. Norman. I said, Larry, I'll kill you when I see you. He said, what's the matter? I said, I'm busy. Goodbye. If he called me later in the afternoon, he said, how'd you like my voice? I said, I could killed you this morning. I was very active then. But we were friends since I'm basically 15 years old, and broke my heart.
Yep. Yep.
One of the good guys.
Yep.
You talk about like Michael DeMori, his personality, the way he is.
Yeah.
That's what Larry was. Larry didn't have a bad word about anybody.
Nope.
If he didn't want to talk to you, he'd just say, how are you? And
Every time I saw him, he would go,
yep.
my cutie.
He's a little,
I'll cherish that forever, forever and ever,
and everything, he discovered that phrase, Pally. I mean,
Yes.
everything was Pally. Everything is signed Pally.
That's right.
I said, could you call me Norman for a change? Yeah, I can, but I'm not comfortable with that. But no, it's been an adventure, and just going through everything at such a young age, and then this guy finds it in the piano store that I'm working at in Jacobs with Steinway, and he came over and we just started talking.
Just get a little closer to the mic.
We started talking, and then we started doing some duets, and we did a nice special, TV special. Got a lot of listeners, and we've been, Ryan works a lot more than I do. But we have good crowds. I mean, the last one we did, coming out of that little injury I had for a while.
Right, right.
And everything's good. I mean, we play music that we like. We play stuff that people like. And it spans from oldies to blues to ragtime to Phantom of the Opera. We just crossed the whole thing.
That is so cool.
And he does it all. You know, he's
Well, I got to meet him and see him at the luncheon.
Yeah.
It was amazing. I was blown away.
Thank you.
Yes, I was. Guys, you have to check him out solo. You have to check him out solo, and you have to check them out together. Okay? You'll be blown away. Trust me on that.
and when he's busy, I have Pam McCoy will do some
That's
limited
right.
dates we've already booked, and so we'll talk
Yep.
about later.
And Pam McCoy is amazing. Amazing.
She's I don't know any other girl singer since.
No.
You know.
She was there too, right, Ryan?
Yep, she
Yep.
was.
Pam was there. Yep.
Might have
So-
been a little bit different material that they were used to.
It was, but she was amazing.
Yeah,
You know?
I call it she's a horse. She could do anything. I mean, she just
So a
adapts.
horse can do anything? I never heard that saying.
She's like a dressage horse. Everything is like,
Gotcha.
you know, a little bit this way, a little bit that way, but that big full voice, you know.
Okay, yes.
And she's just great. That's all.
I have a silly question for you about your afro and your Jewish parents. Were they okay with that?
Well, I didn't have it till after my bar mitzvah, so they were okay. I could have
Oh,
never.
oh, okay, you
I
couldn't
could have
have-
never fit a yarmulke on that. I wouldn't have needed stirrups to hold that thing on.
All right. Okay, there you go. I just had to ask.
Yeah, it was an issue.
Okay.
Plus the fact of keeping it up the way I wanted it, you know, once a week in the salon. And when you go to take the pictures in New York at Crease, when I used to walk in and had to get everything perfect and hope it wasn't a windy day.
Okay.
And, you know, we've had quite a run.
Okay.
We really have.
So, you guys, how many songs you prepared? You have 3 at least?
Yeah, and you've got three other ones that are recorded that you have to play
Oh, wait a minute.
that I sent to you.
Guess what? Totally forgot about that.
Yeah, there's 3 of those.
Guys, I apologize. I totally forgot about that.
There's one of
Oh, no.
Ryan, one of me, and then one of Pam.
You know what? I'm losing my mind here. You
Oops.
totally slipped my mind. So this is what we're going to do. You have access to email on your phone?
I don't know what I have.
Do you have access to what
Yeah.
he sent me?
I don't think so, because Kevin sent that to you.
Oh, Kevin did?
Yeah, Kevin sent it.
All right, so do me a favor. Can you reach out to Kevin?
I don't know, because I can try, but
But he's got to send him to the producer.
I don't even know how
Okay.
to do that.
Are they
This
all
is-
off the record, Norm?
Huh?
They're all off the record, right?
Yeah, but one's an older album of mine.
Okay.
All right. I apologize.
Okay.
I really dropped the ball on this because I forgot about that. We haven't talked about that in a while, and I thought because you're coming live.
No, we had 3 and 3.
Yeah. All right. So do me a favor.
I don't know if I can reach them.
Okay, that's okay. Listen, for right now, we're going to get you guys up there.
Okay.
All right? And you're going to play 3 songs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So let's give everybody a free concert.
All right.
I'm going to try and work this out.
Okay.
All right? So everybody, you guys go up to your keyboards
Yep.
now. We're going to set this up. So bear with us, guys, and enjoy the show. Okay. The producers will switch it to the green screen.
Do you want me to see if I can find it on my phone? I don't know if I can or not.
I think just start with the rag. Go for it, Norm.
When do you want us to start?
Right now.
Okay.
So, song number 2.
I'll put a spell on you because you're mine. You better stop those things you do. I tell you, I ain't lying. I ain't lying. I can't stand it. You running around. Better darling, I can't stand it when you put me down. I put a spell on you because you're mine. I put a spell on you because you're mine. You better stop those things you do. I tell you, I ain't lying. I ain't lying. I can't stand it. You running around. You better darling, I can't stand it when you put me down. I put a spell on you because you're mine. You know, I can't stand it. You running around. You better down, I can't stand it when you put me down. I put a spell on you because you're mine.
Woke up this morning, put on my slippers, went in the kitchen and died. Oh, what a feeling when my soul went through the ceiling, and I'm on into heaven I did ride. When I got there they did say, Stormin happened this way. You slipped upon the floor and hit your head. Oh, the angels say just before you passed away, these are the very words that you said. Oh, well, please don't bury me in this cold, cold ground. I I'd rather have you cut me up and pass me all around. Well, throw my brain to a hurricane and the blind can have my eyes. The deaf can have both my ears if they don't mind the size. Well, give my stomach to Milwaukee if they run out of beer. Put my socks in a wooden box, just get them on out of here. Well, Venus de Milo can have my arms, oh God, I got her nose. Sell my heart to the junk man and give my love to Rose. Well, please don't bury me in this cold, cold ground. I'd rather have them cut me up and pass me all around. Well, throw my brain to a hurricane and the blind can have my eyes. The deaf can have both my ears if they don't mind the size. Give me eyes of the needy, the bold and fancy free. Give my feet to the footloose, don't pull that stuff on me. Well, pass me down my walking cane, it's a sin to tell a lie. Send my mouth to the south and kiss my ass goodbye. Well, please don't bury me in this cold, cold ground. I'd rather have them cut me up and pass me all around. Well, throw my brain to a hurricane and the blind can have my eyes. The deaf can have both my ears if they don't mind the size. We'll give myself a hole and then I will mind the size.
P3s from the last show that we could play, but we'll tell you which ones they are in a minute. But listen, Ryan, can you sing the song that we were supposed to play?
That was
Into the Mystic?
in the Mystic.
Yeah.
So why don't, it's my fault, guys, I apologize, okay? We're going to have Ryan sing it live for us.
Sure. We were born before the wind, not too longer than the sun. And a bonny boat was wild as we sailed into the mystic. Hark now, hear the sailors cry. Spread your wings and feel the sky. Let your soul and spirit fly as we sail into the mystic. When that foghorn whistle blows, you know I'll be coming home. When that foghorn whistle blows, I can hear it. I don't have to fear now. Wanna rock your gypsy soul, just like way back in the days of old. together we will fold as we sail into the mystic. Don't have to stop now, y'all. When that foghorn whistle blows, you know I'll be coming home. And when that foghorn whistle blows, I can hear it. I don't have to fear it now. Wanna rock your gypsy soul, just like way back in the days of old. And together we will fold as we sail into the mystic. Oh, 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 I wanna rock your gypsy soul, just like way back in the days of old. And together we will fold as we sail into the mystic. Don't have to stop now, y'all.
That was amazing. I love your voice.
Thank you.
I love your voice. Wow. Okay, so now, Norm, the one that you sent us that you were singing on, would you like to do that live?
Well, that was a big production number, so.
There was, okay.
That was from one of the classic albums, so.
Okay, so, Ruben, tell Norman the songs we already have from last time.
Okay, hold on.
Okay.
Reset itself. Give me a second. 1 second. Good job, guys. That was awesome.
Great job.
Awesome.
Wow.
Play and solos. Let's see here.
We're off right now.
This is live, people. So,
Oh, it is, okay.
okay.
Hey, guys. You had them up.
Yeah, I know. When I put the thing back, it reset itself.
Okay.
It's always something.
Okay. Technology. I just love it.
Actually, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm doing the alphabet in my head here.
Okay. It's an S, Ruben. It's an S.
Oh. You know what, believe it or not, I was looking for Jerry. I'm in Jerry's folder. I'm looking for Norman.
Norman? No, it's Stormin.
Stormin. Okay, here we go.
All right.
Here we go. Here we go. I'm awake. Okay, we have. Crap. Hold on. Did it again. Hold on. I'm sorry, guys.
Okay.
Hold on.
It's never been that difficult looking for songs
Yeah,
on
no.
there.
No, it reset itself again.
Again, guys, a Timeless Memories album and CD. Message me the first three, and you will get one of each.
Okay, here we go. We have 5 foot, 2 foot,
5'2".
5 foot 2.
5'2".
This time, ladder. Yeah, BIS time.
What?
Later.
Okay, what's the next one?
Shake, Rattle, and Roll.
You can do that
And
track.
Jersey Boy.
Do Jersey Boy.
Okay,
On
okay, so let's play Jersey Boy.
Okay, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, live on the Geri Petito Show, we're playing Stormin number song. Here we go. Jersey Boy.
Mixing up the sounds from down in New Orleans. Ain't nothing like it you ever heard or seen. Kicking in the feeling deep down, dirty and mean. Ain't nothing up north like down in New Orleans. Put a little organ and keys into the mix. Lean on the drummer and let him get his kicks. Listen to the bottle guitar as he digs his lips. There's nothing in New Jersey that's magic like a voodoo tricks. Get the music churning and cooking like a Cajun stew. With a touch of Dr. John, Professor, and a domino too. Mix it all together, it's all so good for you. It's a feeling that's there for free, and it's tough for a Yankee to see. I'm a Jersey boy with his heart down in New Orleans. Get the music churning and cooking like a Cajun stew. With a touch of Dr. John, Professor, and a domino too. Mix it all together, it's all so good for you. It's a feeling that's there for free, and it's tough for a Yankee to see. I'm a Jersey boy with his heart down in New Orleans. I'm a Jersey boy with his heart down in New Orleans. I'm a Jersey boy with his heart down in New Orleans. Oh, yeah. It's a feeling that's there for free, and it's tough for a Yankee to see. I'm a Jersey boy with his heart down in New Orleans. Let me tell you, oh, yeah.
Hey, so you want to give us a finale song? I'm putting you on the spot here.
That's a heck of a tune to finish. We could do, if you want.
Well, we'll do an abbreviated version.
Yeah, I would shorten it just a touch.
And what is it?
We'll give you a medley from Phantom of the Opera mixed in with some stuff.
Yes. my gosh. All right, boys. I'm giving you a standing ovation from my seat. Come on back over here. Wow. Amazing. What'd you guys think? No, I'm talking to them out there. All right. Amazing. Phew. Okay, so, incredible. All right, so, Ryan. Talk a little bit, I want to give you the mic, okay? You have a few minutes here. Talk a little bit to the listening audience about anything you want them to know.
Oh, well, I'm an easy man to find. www.RyanGregg3gsmusic.com. Ryan Gregg Music everywhere that social media is found. I play regularly with the Ocean Avenue Stompers. I have a solo record that came out last year. I'm working on a country record right now with a buddy from Missouri. I'm traveling around with brother and sister in a couple months related to Butch Trucks and the Almonds. So I got some connections there with that family and really a privilege to play that music. And I'm all over the place. If you want to find me and where I'm going to be at, visit my website. Every gig I play in any place is listed there, and I'm an easy man to find.
Amazing. Wow, all right, so, this guy right here. The mic is yours. Tell,
At all the dates, I can't.
no, okay, we have these, but that's different,
What do you
okay? I want you to look to the camera and talk to the audience and tell them anything you'd like to tell them, and I'll tell them all about this.
Well, if you want to really hear some really good music, wherever you find Ryan or myself and Pam McCoy or the big band, it's always special. We can do A to Z, and it doesn't make any difference what it is. And our originals too, we have them in there. And I've got plans for a late 2025, early 26 new album. So that'll be my ninth one.
Do you know what it's gonna be called?
Have no idea yet.
Okay,
except we'll
is
be
it gonna,
doing-
is it gonna be a color vinyl?
Possibly.
Okay, he's being secretive, guys, he's
Yeah,
being
well,
secretive.
when you run through the purple, you have to think of something else,
I mean, the
but
purple's the best.
We'll be doing some piano duets. There'll be stuff with Pam McCoy, and there'll be some surprise artists in the full horn section, the full band. It'll be more some originals on there, not so many covers, and it should be different. It'll, like I say, it'll be unique. And you want to find me for any engagements? www.storminnormanseldin.com or call me at 732-245-4777. We do have dates coming up at the R Bar, and we have dates coming up at One Willow in Highlands, and a lot of private parties. So you can go
I'm gonna go through the list for
Go
that.
that. But you want something good? You're looking at two guys. We can put it together for you.
So, guys, Friday, May 9th, Stormin Norman Private Party, Long Branch, New Jersey. Sunday, June 8th, the Unique Piano Duet at Triumph Brewery, New Hope, PA. I used to love New Hope. I used to hang out there. 1 to 4 p.m. brunch, no cover. Okay, so that's Sunday, June 8th, correct? Okay, no cover, guys, 1 to 4 p.m. brunch. Then we've got Sunday, June 29th, Stormin Norman and Pam McCoy at One Willow in Highlands, New Jersey, 5 to 8 p.m., no cover. Then we've got Friday, July 18th, private show with Stormin Norman and Pam in Monroe, New Jersey. Sunday, July 20th, the Unique Piano Duet with Stormin Norman and Ryan Gregg at One Willow in Highlands, New Jersey, 5 to 8 p.m., no cover. We've got Sunday, July 27th, TTBA concert with a tribute to Hank Williams Sr. with Pat Guadagno, Stormin Norman Seldin, Pam McCoy, Familiar Faces, PK Lavengood, and much more at Woodbridge High School, Woodbridge, New Jersey. That's pretty cool.
Yes, that should be good.
Okay, that's pretty ridiculous. All right. Sunday, August 10th, 1 to 4 p.m., brunch with Stormin Norman and Ryan Gregg here, okay? The Unique Piano Duet, no cover, the R Bar, Asbury Park, New Jersey.
Greatest brunch on the store. And the song,
Okay.
Greatest brunch on the shore.
All right, so that's pretty cool. So we have a few more minutes, guys. So I want to ask you some more musical questions before we, end it. So let's go back to Ryan, because you're a little younger than both of us. And, you're into such amazing oldies and soul and rhythm and blues. I mean, it's just amazing to me. Other than that, when you were growing up, did you like any of like the hit songs that were out for you when you were growing up?
I didn't.
You didn't. That's so weird. Okay.
For better or worse, I listened to the music I listened to. A lot of my friends growing up were into punk and emo music.
Yeah.
Which I personally didn't connect with
Yeah.
in the same way. No judgment, but it just didn't resonate with me in the same way. So I kind of did my own thing musically for a long time. It wasn't even until college where I really was surrounded by other people. Like, oh, there's kids my age who like jazz as much as I do and blues as much as I do.
Oh, really?
So I was alone in that for a long time when I was younger.
So that's like really interesting to me because I always say I'm an old soul. I always say, I was born too late, right? I'm an oldies doo-wop Elvis girl. I was born in '61 and all my songs came out in the late '50s, early '60s. How does that happen, right? But with me, I also loved the current music I was growing up with. Led Zeppelin, Foreigner, Genesis. I mean, I went to all the concerts.
I didn't even get to classic rock until I was in college.
Okay?
Because it was all blues. And eventually, working as long as I have, I've now touched on pretty much every genre out there in
Okay.
some way or another. And I love all music.
Okay, that's what I want to know.
Yes. Blues, rock, jazz, reggae, country, hip hop. I mean, I've done everything. And,
Okay.
And especially, I've connected too with like a lot of the music that I love, a lot of music that I'm sure the fans of this podcast love. A lot of that stuff ended up in hip hop as the sampled tracks.
It did.
And, and that was kind of an in for me to understand that music as well. And, it's such a direct line. Even, working with Norman, it was the first time I love the blues because it's kind of the in the beginning music where it kind of, I didn't recognize doo-wop, the direct line from like doo-wop to Springsteen. I didn't chart that yet.
Okay.
But it really is a direct line.
It is.
That Springsteen was in those clubs listening to that music.
Yep.
And then all of his music kind of echoes that music.
Yep.
And it's just, seeing that connection and working with someone who was there at that time is a real honor. And like if I'm a huge music nerd in the sense of like history, so it was
Okay.
really interesting to get that.
So what'd you think of Elvis? Come on.
He's great.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he's great.
So I have one more question for you, and then we're going to get back to this guy. Hip hop and rap.
Uh-huh.
All right. So, a lot of profanity and a lot of anger and all that. Do you listen to any of those?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to share with you a story, and that's why I asked. So, of course, I don't listen to it and never did. But in 2016 or 17, a young African-American hip-hop artist from Trenton, New Jersey, just starting out, named Randy Shank, reached out to me on Facebook and said, Miss Geri, I'm just starting out. Can you interview me? I'd love to come live in studio. I said, can you keep it clean, young man? He said, yes. Well, this young man owns a piece of my heart to this day. He's now down south with a family, and he's also a photographer. What he's doing is unbelievable, and go and check him out for me. He goes by Six, S-I-X, Director. All right, so check him out and say hello to him. This is what he told me. I said to him, and he had a couple of his other hip-hop friends with him, and I said, why is there so much profanity and anger, right? Why is this going on in this music? And he said, Miss Geri, everyone has a story to tell, and it needs to be told. And unfortunately, for some of us, this is the only story we know.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
a reflection of the
Times.
of the culture. It's a
Yeah, the
reflection
culture,
and a
that's-
lot of
that's
people
right.
when you don't grow up in that,
That's right.
but also look at the way rock and roll music was
That's right.
was looked at when it first showed up.
Yep.
Like look at all of this music and you can go all the way back. I mean, even
They wanted to arrest Elvis.
Rite of Spring by Stravinsky, they rioted at the theater.
Okay.
It was a classical piece that was written
Okay.
before time, and it was so out of the box for what people were used to that a classical piece with no words on it was enough to get people to riot back then.
That is so cool.
Yeah, and this is nothing new.
Yeah.
It's just whatever it is. I don't understand that. It's like, well, of course you don't. You didn't grow up in that. It's okay sometimes to say, you know what? I don't understand this music, but it's not for me. I don't have to understand it. I can appreciate it, and I can appreciate the people singing it, and I can appreciate the form. And there's lots of music out there that I have an amazing amount of respect for. The work that goes in, the heart that goes in, the soul of the players that I have no desire to really listen to on a regular basis because it doesn't resonate with me.
Right.
But I still respect the work and
Yes.
respect where they're coming from and respect the art, that they're doing.
Well, thank you for sharing everything you just shared, especially about, back in the day with the music. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah, Rite of Spring. It's an interesting
Okay.
story.
Very
Yeah.
cool. Thank you. All right. So everybody, Ryan, Gregg. All right. So now, Stormin, Norman, Seldin. I have a silly question for you.
Love them.
All right, and talk close to the mic because we got to hear this. So we know who you loved. We know, you're a little bit older, so your music and everything, who, all the people that made an impact on you and all the people you made an impact on. Aside from all that, any 70s, 80s music, rock and roll that you liked?
Well, the band, The Joyful Noise, played everything from A to Z. So we had some from the top 10, from the
Okay.
top 20. We had rhythm and blues. We had acapellas.
Okay.
We did acapellas in concert.
Okay.
We opened with a 5-piece band and closed the garden with an acapella with the Book of Love.
Okay.
And they liked it so much that we ended up being the opening act for the next 2 shows, the Philadelphia Academy of Music.
But what about music in the 70s and 80s? Like,
We
what
cover-
about Led Zeppelin? Did you like any of that? Or Foreigner, Genesis?
We did. We were blessed. We had Clarence on sax and we had Ronnie Allard on sax.
Okay.
So, and Ronnie Allard used to play 2 horns at the same time, and he also played bagpipes. So we had a very interesting combination of doing, things by Eric Burdon and War, and
War.
and we had some instrumental things on Stairway to Heaven.
Stairway to
And,
Heaven, yeah.
We and all the Procol Harum stuff. We did all of that. Whiter Shade of Pale, Conquistador. We thrived on that stuff, and we filled it in all the way along. There were some, I can remember doing, Build Me Up, Buttercup, and things like that when the audience was there. You just get them clapping, and they, song to song. We did it all.
Okay.
We did it all.
So, what was your least favorite music?
Oof. Least favorite.
Yes.
Unfortunately, I have to say, some of the groups I heard coming up that recorded out of tune because they sold millions of records. Don't get me wrong, but you heard the mistakes and you heard the solos were
But that's
wrong.
because of who you are.
Yeah, the public didn't notice it, but
No, public wouldn't.
I mean, even Fats Domino, there were some clunkers in there, but they had to do albums at a time. They ran them through, and the people he had 45 hit records inside the
Okay.
top 40 in his career. 45 of them.
Okay.
I mean, who does that?
That's right.
They were simple. It was happy songs. Everybody liked it. I first heard them on the black stations. The guy,
And Elvis Presley always gave him
The credit.
saying he started rock and roll.
and so did Ricky Nelson.
Yep.
They went right back to him,
Yeah.
and they recorded his songs. Of course, I wasn't fond of Pat Boone singing Fats Domino songs, but so be it. But it's an interesting story when you grow up with it from a young age, and then you start promoting shows. I mean, I'm teaching groups how to do dance steps so they look like the Temptations, and I'm about as good a dancer as half a leg of Arthur Murray. They got it. I said, look at the video. I mean, we dressed them the way. I said, you got to take the right foot, the left foot. You got to cross over. That's what goes with My Girl. That's what goes with Ain't Proud to Beg.
Yeah.
And they did, and that sold the show. Now we can be casual. I can come on like this. I can come on like this. I can wear a T-shirt. Doesn't make any difference. But then
No.
it was a whole changeover.
Yes.
I mean, we had to have everything had to be matching, and then finally,
Talking your mic.
then I finally said, you know what? It's for the birds if I have to do one of these things. And when we had to do something like that, we just went and rented tuxes for everybody. We had them. But trying to put Clarence in the size 54 tux was
Oh, my gosh.
humorous. I mean, I picked his jacket up, and it was like this much wider than anybody else's. And we got one for him. I remember that the jacket at the time, we were paying, I think it was $50 a jacket. Clarence's was $100 and some dollars because it was so big. And that's when after you lost some weight, it was still 56 long. That's a big jacket, 58.
Okay, yes.
Yeah. So, I've been through it all and I've done it all. I appreciate everything that's done well. I don't care what it is. Like Ryan, I appreciate what they've done. I'm not going to put it in my repertoire, but I always give a listen to everything, and I still do. And
Okay.
there's some great voices out there. You may not like the material they're doing, but the voices are great.
Yes.
I'm a swing over from, I'm a huge Carrie Underwood fan.
Okay.
I'm a huge Lady Gaga fan.
Oh, yes.
Celine Dion. I mean,
Yes.
those are singers. Streisand in her day, of course.
Yes.
There's some great ones out there, and they keep popping
Whitney
up.
Houston, forget it.
Oh yeah, and they keep popping up every week, out of the blue. So it's an adventure when you've seen as much as I have, and been around all those people.
Right.
It's crazy.
Okay, let's talk about people. All right, so this is sort of like a B question. All right, here we go. So you've met so many people. You've worked with so many people. Now hear me out. Which person, and this is, you can say the person's name because guess what? It's not taking away from anyone else.
Okay.
Which person resonated with you the most that you were like, oh my gosh, I met this person, and who did you not meet that you wish you could have met?
The voice that resonated with me because he was so good at 16 and so good in 50 years old was Johnny Maestro.
Okay, and you met him.
Yeah, I put him on at least 9 shows,
Okay, that's so cool.
and we knew each other. Johnny was still playing bass then. He didn't sing up front. He played bass. And he would do I did all the Catholic schools proms, and I had the Del Satins who used to do the shows, and their lead singer sang like Frank Sinatra, and Strangers in the Night was big.
Okay.
So when he sang that, the whole place erupted. Very rare for a ballad to explode, except with Johnny. And of course, Larry was untouchable.
That's right.
He
He
could
was
touch
untouchable.
5,000 songs, he did every one of them good.
Okay, amazing.
Disgusting.
Amazing, right? Now, who did you never get to meet that you wish you could have?
Well, I met Jerry Lee Lewis, but it wasn't pleasant. He was drunk
Okay.
in Mississippi down at the Under the Hill Saloon, and they were filming along the Mississippi, and I had just come in there, and my license plate was Yankee in Mississippi
Uh-oh.
on a red car with an afro, and I pulled in for the first time to work Under the Hill Saloon in Natchez, Mississippi, which is where history goes. Jim Bowie had his famous fight there with 2 people with guns, and he killed both of them with his knife
Okay.
on that same property. And upstairs was a bordello in those days.
Okay.
So it was a rough oil town, with lots of oil. And I pulled up there, and I hear this person just screaming, and he's bombed. This Jerry Lee Lewis, he's bombed out of his mind, and they got a film crew there, a union film crew to film. And the guy said, I've had it. Let's just wrap it up. You know who I am? He's falling all over the place. And I just sat down at the stool, I didn't say a word. And the bartender was a little guy, he used to use a stool to wait on people. He said, we got a piano picker here. He can do that stuff.
A piano picker?
That's what they call him, a piano picker. So he said, can you play something for this background? I said, sure. Meanwhile, they're loading him in the car. I said, you can give me Jerry Lee Lewis's stuff, I'll do it for you. So I did 2 or 3 of them. I was trying to be hidden away from the public. I didn't know it was going on national TV 400 times a week.
Okay.
And I played the Jerry Lee Lewis stuff. I worked every weekend in Natchez, Mississippi for a year straight, and all their big dates. And when they had their first Mardi Gras since 1902, I did that with a
Wow.
country western singer, and we played that date. So it evolved, It's,
But now, who have you never met that you wish you could have?
oh gosh. I played with Roy Buchanan. I played with Freddie King. There's I have not met him, and I've always been fond of is Eric Clapton.
Oh, okay. Very cool.
Because of the genres he could play. He just had a knack for doing great songs and
Yep.
doing great solos. And I worked with B.B. King in the Delta, so that was one. And Bonnie Raitt was on the same show. So, and I was the only white guy there.
That's
Besides
funny.
her,
Right.
And it's a big festival. And in Mississippi, if you charge to get in the blues, they used to scream at the door. In Jackson, Mississippi, you're charging $2 to hear the blues. We hear it for nothing in the Delta. They
Okay.
used to hawk it. They had to take the cover off the door. So it's, You see a lot of things, but the Clapton is one of the ones. I was fortunate to tour with the Rolling Stones on their Voodoo Lounge tour for a Christmas present.
How was that?
It was in Mexico City, and when they shut all the outlets onto the main highway, so you can go through with the limousines, was amazing because there's a billion places there. And we went in the Voodoo Lounge, and Jamie and I, we were there with Keith Richards' kids, and she's playing video games, and there's a snooker table.
Okay.
But, seeing people with machine guns across the top of the stadium was crazy. We watched them blow up the big stage
Okay.
and do the sound check. The mixer board had to be the size of my house. And we were with them for a week in Mexico City. And we had dinner with them every night. And I was with Bobby Keys and all those people at 1 in the morning when he couldn't sleep. And I'd leave Jamie upstairs sleeping. We'd come down and play the grand piano in the lobby, Four Seasons. So he said, I'm glad they didn't hear you before me. I don't think I have this job. I said, I can't do this. And this every night somewhere. But it was great. That was meeting Jagger and all that was great.
That's pretty cool. So let me pinch you. Okay.
It hurt.
So amazing, incredible career.
It keeps going.
Yep.
I
Yep.
feel that if you keep playing and
Talking to Mike, babe.
if you keep playing and you keep doing the right thing and drawing a crowd, people follow you.
That's right.
We're the most unlikely duet you would ever see, I think, and we have wall to wall where we go. It's crazy because we're giving them a little bit of everything. They're getting
Okay.
blues, they're getting ragtime, getting rock and roll, 50s,
Yep.
some originals. They're getting everything,
Yep.
and it's a mix. Ryan can turn around and play anything. So can I. On a dime, we can just turn around. And
I know.
So it's I don't ever forget. I lost half of my classical memory when I had the aortic dissection. So there was 1,350 classical selections in my head that I knew. Some were 40 pages long. I knew every one by memory, and only that comes back in flashes.
Okay. Okay.
But that's one side.
That's right. That's right.
But life is good.
Okay. Give somebody out there listening that may need to hear some words of encouragement. You first.
Don't stop what you really want to do. Look ahead. Don't look back. Looking back, you can never fix. When you look ahead, you have a bright day. Whether it's raining or it's sunny, it is bright. And there's nothing wrong with tomorrow because you don't even know what's here yet. So forget looking over your shoulder and forget what happened yesterday. Forget what happened this morning. If you know somebody's a bad person, you shy away from that person. You don't have to say anything. But just look ahead because there's always something brighter there. Don't give up on what you want to do. Dreams come true.
Dreams come true. Ryan, take the mic.
I would say you can't cause a lightning strike, but you can create the conditions that it's more likely to strike. So if you create the conditions, you're not necessarily tied to those moments in the same way of desperation because you need to capture this moment, you need to capture this opportunity, and it's in those moments of desperation where you're thinking emotionally and you make bad decisions. But if you're creating the environment that these opportunities can present themselves, then you know that eventually something else is going to come, and it relaxes you and ultimately makes you work a lot easier, and it makes it a lot more enjoyable just to go day to day.
Wow, you both said some beautiful things here. A lot of people out there I know needed to hear what you guys had to say.
There's always another day.
There's always another day.
And if you forget that, then you have no tomorrow.
That's right. I'm going to read a poem out of my book now. And guys, I wrote this poem because there are a lot of people out there who question their self-worth and they think they have nothing to offer. And I'm here to tell you, God created everyone with a talent. You just have to figure out what it is, all right? I mean, just think, what if we didn't have sanitation workers? Okay? I'm that crazy clean person. Okay, my cleaning people are like, why am I here? I would go crazy if we didn't have sanitation workers, right? If we didn't have people who want to clean your homes. I mean, to me, they're right up there. So everyone has something to offer. So if you're questioning your self-worth, please listen to every word of this poem. Utilizing gifts and talents. We are born with talents. We are born with drive, with different gifts to help us thrive. I knew early on I was born to draw and paint. to also write poetry and to talk without restraint. Our gifts and talents should all be used. God's gift to us, not be abused. You can go far in life for sure using your gifts to go on tour. All our talents should be used to create ourselves and more, but then our job's to share them, to even up the score. You see, in life, what's needed is not just for ourselves. Once our gifts are mastered, take them off the shelves. A living we can make by spreading them around, not just for the money, but to spread a peaceful sound. Don't take for granted the gifts you're given. Go out and spread the joy. Our gifts are not to be held back for us to self-destroy. Put your efforts forth. Do not hesitate. All your talents, my friend, are never second rate. Never hold them back or you will surely die. Maybe not in body, but your soul will cry. Our gifts were made to share, our talents made to soar. Go through life enlightened, and then you can roar. Be proud of who you are. Be happy you're alive. Once again, my friend, your gifts will help you thrive. By putting efforts forth, guys, not keeping them at bay, your name, the unique piano duet, baby, will live forever, forever and a day. So go through life excited for what you sure can give. To yourself and others is our reason to live. Our grave will be quite lonely, but our legacy lives on. So make sure people smile with the breaking dawn. And that's what you guys are doing. I hope you know that, all right? You know, just the luncheon that day, and you couldn't be there, but they all went for you and for you, you know? And people cried that day that you weren't there. So when we hear your music, guys, like when you guys were playing live, and especially the final song, okay, I got all choked up because that's incredible. They're not just pianists. They're amazing. So when people listen to you, you bring back memories, you bring them smiles. Music saves lives, and there's been so many people so sad, right, and going through so much the last few years. So I want to thank you both personally for making so many people happy.
Thanks for having us.
It was
Thank you.
amazing. So, all right, guys, please share this video. And Pam, I apologize. My fault about the MP3s. We would have played your song, but you guys did great in spite of, and it was amazing. So everybody, please share this video. Producer, take us out.
Ladies and gentlemen, Geri Petito.
I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Loves the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.
When you don't know just what to do.
Just what to do, just what to do.
If what you're feeling is really true.
Is really true, is it really true?
Just keep your ideas safe and sound.
Safe and sound, safe and sound.
That's exactly how change is found.
Change is found, change is found. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Loves the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.